review for The Omega Man, starring Charleston Heston, directed by Boris Sagal. Dr. Robert Neville has developed an experimental vaccine which makes him the only immune survivor of a biological catastrophe. A gang of homicidal mutants blame science for their condition and attempt to kill it. So I just watched the one that they did before this, and based on the Richard Matheson novel, I Am Legend, and this is definitely different because I don't think he ever calls them vampires. And I don't think, I don't know if they even drink people's blood or anything. Um, it's kind of odd because they're zombie-esque, kind of. I think they move a little slow, but they pretty much seem to have their faculties. I think they're pretty much the undead. But they don't eat brains, I don't think. They don't, I don't see them bite people, but there really aren't many people left. There's Charlton Heston, and then later there's a few others, but so it's definitely different there. I see some what I Am Legend did took a little bit from this movie, because in that movie there's like a leader of the zombies, and in this there's like a leader of the zombies. But in this movie, the zombies, or whatever you want to call them, vampires, they almost seem like cult members. That's the way I kind of read it, which is not in the book really. I just listened to the audiobook like last week of I Am Legend, and so that's not in the book. They hate like modernity. They blame science for their condition, although they don't really get into like what their condition is. Like, they have sores on their face, their skin's pale, their hair's white, they can't go out in the sun, even lights flash at them, they can't really process. They use candles and stuff a little bit, but they pretty much just at in the day they're just out of sight, come out at night. um they do talk and speak just like in the book. They yell at him, and when he's in his apartment complex, tell him to come out. They're screaming at him just like in the book, but in the book, in that first movie, I mean, they don't really make much of an effort to get inside of his house. So but in the movie, in the book, he puts crosses all over his doors. They don't like mirrors. That's not in this either. They don't like mirrors because they don't want to look at themselves. They don't like garlic. That's not in this either. So all the classic vampire stuff is gone from this, except for the sunlight thing. But I didn't I did like it. I think what they were doing with this is they definitely tried to kind of, I think, ratchet up the action, the intensity of the movie. Like, the movie opens with him in his car, then he sees someone like moving in a window, he pulls out a machine gun and shoots at them. So right away you get into the him shooting at them. They're kind of like, okay, we're putting this in an upper, we're in an upper gear, we're ratcheting up the action. That's kind of how I felt about the movie. It's in some of the music's very 70s, kind of like, funk and like stuff like that. So um I'm not sure I'd rank it I think I still may like the first movie more, just because it's more like the book. And I mean, Matheson, I think, helped write the screenplay for that movie. I think under a pseudonym, but his name is the novels by him. Yeah, so I don't think he had anything to do with this movie. But the structure's still there. He's still playing the same character. I think. I think his name was Neville in the first one. He's a scientist, military scientist. The world has gone to shit, obviously, and he is trying to get vaccines to stop the spread of this virus or disease or whatever you want to call it. And his helicopter crashes. So his helicopter crashes, and then he injects himself with the vaccine, and it happens to work. So that's a difference from the book and the movie, the first movie, because he doesn't really know why he's immune. He kind of speculates about some things, but he's not sure. So that's a difference. He injects himself with a vaccine, and then the world, falls apart. There's mention that there was a Russia-Chinese war, and then that kind of led to, I think, biological warfare, and then that led to everyone dying. So, so yeah, so that's a difference from the book. Um, I honestly prefer the vampire type ones more, because in this it seems like that they that they're still somewhat intelligent. I mean, one of them even uses a gun at one point, but that's forbidden. So they're like a religious cult. They're like, we don't use technology, we don't use guns and grenades and bombs. We just use like spears and knives and clubs and stuff like that. So I thought that was a little weird. It just wasn't quite explained. It's like, so you can use guns, you have the mental capacity to use them, but you don't. And Charleston Heston sure uses a lot of guns. I mean, we know how much he loved guns, right? And he definitely uses a lot in this. So I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, the guy who plays Matthias, Anthony Zerbe, he's been in tons of stuff. He's a really good actor. Oh, okay, he's in Matrix Reloaded, License to Kill, Cool Hand Luke, Star Trek Insurrection. Okay, that's where I was like, where? I was like, this guy's been in Star Trek. I know he has been, but yeah, tons of stuff. And he's pretty much the leader of the vampires or whatever they're called. I just think he calls them like non-human. So I don't know. I mean, it's different at least, but I wasn't that enthralled with that. And it does play the same. He's immune, so he has the cure. He meets some people that are slightly sick, I guess, because everyone has the virus or something, and it slowly kills you, and they're slowly dying. Um, they actually capture Charleston Heston in the end of the first act or something, and then um, and then they are about to burn him alive, and he's saved by them because earlier he saw the woman walking around, but he lost her, and then they save him, and then he's basically like, "Oh, I could probably cure you. Let's try it." And one of them, her name is, I think, Rosalinda Cash. Her brother is sick, Richie, and they try his to make a serum with his blood, and it does save the kid. But this is like full spoilers. I thought the movie was okay. I liked it. I'll probably still go with the Vincent Price one though. just because I also really like Vincent Price. This isn't terrible though, so maybe on par with I Am Legend. I just hate the CGI in that movie. It's so bad. Um, so yeah, and and Richie's fine, and they're all gonna leave the city, and they're all gonna cure. He's gonna cure all them, and they're gonna leave the city and go for the hills. It's kind of what he's saying, but they for some reason the woman, what's her character's name, Lisa, decides to like go shopping, and then I'm like, this is like 2/3 into the movie. I'm like, she's totally gonna get captured or something. And Richie, he kind of has an argument with Charlton Heston, and he's like, well, why don't you go cure them? And then Charlton Heston's like, no, there's nothing for them. They're just pure evil. They're zombies. And then Richie just goes out on his own to go contact Matthias and say, hey, we can cure you. But they don't want anything of it, and they just end up killing the kid. And it's like pretty brutal, but I was like, that was pretty dumb of Richie. It's pretty dumb. Like, these guys are insane. They're not your friends. They have no interest in being cured because they think that you're the dead one. But I don't know. I thought that was a little strange. And then of course Lisa. I mean, they don't even show what happens to her, but she becomes a zombie. So I guess she was slowly turning into one, and then she turned into one. So something terrible happened about 2/3 way through the movie. I totally guessed it, and yeah, and then the rest of the movie happens where he's fighting them, and he ends up getting killed, and he grabs one of the last serums because they're destroying his laboratory, and he gives it to the rest of the survivors, and they drive on. There's definitely some Christ imagery at the end when he's in a pool and his arms are out like he's a crucified figure. And Matthias is never killed, so just kind of left kind of an unsatisfying end in some ways. Matthias's best friend or his right hand man is killed, who tried to use a gun, but that's never even really brought up, like that he used a gun, but it's banned, or Matthias bans it, but it's just kind of all dropped. So I don't know. I haven't seen any of this other work from this director. So the writers came up with the idea to make Neville's love interest an African American woman, even though, okay, it was controversial to do that in the 70s. So the facade set up for Neville's fortress home still stands relatively unchanged on Warner Brothers Park Ranch Boulevard, Burbank. Charlton Heston had the original novel on an airplane coming back to Los Angeles and was very interested in a modern adaptation of the book. He was totally unaware of the fact that it had already been made into a film years before called The Last Man on Earth starring Vincent Price. He didn't even know that. Well, at least it's different than that. It's just not a straight up remake of it. But I think I would have to give it to The Last Man on Earth because it's very similar to the novel. Rosalind Cash was uneasy before her love scene with Charlton Heston, saying, it felt strange to screw Moses. Whoopi Goldberg has claimed that the kiss between the characters played by Charlton Heston and Cash was one of the first interracial kisses to appear in a movie, but in actual fact, there have been several such scenes in movies before, included Island in the Sun, A Patch of the Blue, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And yeah, there have been several instances on television long before the Omega Man also. Yeah, like Captain Kirk did that in Star Trek. So, but yeah, I don't have that much to say. It's interesting to compare these three movies, and there's rumors they're going to make an I Am Legend 2 with Will Smith because Bad Boys 4 actually is doing really well. So, I guess his career isn't dead. So I'll be interested to see it because I really enjoyed the book and Vincent Price's movie, and this one's all right. It's not bad. Charlton Heston puts in a good performance. I think Matthias is a very good actor, so he puts in a good performance, and um, Rosalind Cash is good too as his love interest, and she is a badass in the movie. So, but yeah, that's about it. The Omega Man. If you could do me a favor and smash that like button, that'd be great. Really helps with the channel. But yeah, check it out. Check out the Vincent Price one before. Before you watch this, I'd say. And maybe read the novel. It's not that long. The audiobook's on YouTube. So, but yeah, see you next time.